country in Central America, bordered by Nicaragua to the north and Panama to the south, with coastline on the Caribbean and Pacific. It is a small nation of about 5.27 million people, with its capital, San Jose, home to 1.46 million. Costa Rica has a strong economy driven by tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing. Tourism alone contributes 12.5% to the GDP, thanks to its rich biodiversity and ecotourism. Agriculture focuses on exports like bananas and pineapple, while manufacturing excels in medical devices and electronics. Emerging industries like IT and life science are also growing fast. The country is led by President Rodrigo Chavez Robles, and while unemployment was 8.53% in May 2024, it has improved significantly since 2022. Interestingly, Costa Rica is experiencing deflation, while prices are dropping due to lower communication and transportation costs. Costa Rica offers a high standard of living with universal healthcare, free education, and a strong focus on environmental conservation. Despite challenges like wealth disparity, the government has effective programs to reduce poverty, including education scholarships, financial aids, and support for small businesses. Infrastructure improvements are also helped underserved communities. Costa Rica's commitment to well-being and its pura vida, which means enjoying life to the fullest lifestyle, make it one of the happiest and most stable nations in the region. Let's move on to the next point, which is the population of Costa Rica. Let me share some insight about Costa Rica's population as of 2024. The country has about 5.25 million people, reflecting steady growth. By the end of 2024, the population is expected to reach 5.33 million, with a growth rate of 0.66% annually. Although small on the global stage, Costa Rica has a young demographic, with many under 30 years old. However, the aging population is growing, as longer life expectancy leads to more elderly citizens. Currently, about 18.71% of the population is aged 0 until 14 years old, and 12.85% is over 65 years old, showing a shift towards an older population. Most people live in the Central Valley, home to the capital, San Jose, due to better services and job opportunities. Coastal and rural areas are less populated, focusing on agriculture and tourism. Costa Rica's population trends shape its labor force, education needs, and future development. Thank you.
Costa Rica is a nation known for its breathtaking landscape and thriving biodiversity. But beyond its natural beauty, it is a story of economic transformation and resilience. Classified as an upper middle income country, Costa Rica has demonstrated steady economic growth. In 2022, its gross national income was estimated at $91.88 billion and is projected to soar to $119.48 billion by 2029. The country's economy is predominantly service-oriented. Service contribute an impressive 75.9% of the GDP, followed by industry at 18.9%. And agriculture at 5.5%. However, the average annual household income stands at $16,517, which is below the OECD average. Costa Rica faces significant challenge with a poverty rate of 25.5%. Income inequality reflected by a Gini coefficient of 47.2. and unemployment rate of 10.5% as of 2019, there is work to be done. Yet, Costa Rica is a success story in attracting foreign investment. The nation has become a hub for industries like electronics, medical equipment, and IT service. Its economy has evolved from an agriculture base to a diversified and dynamic one. Ongoing reforms and strategic investment in education and infrastructure are at the heart of Costa Rica's futures. These efforts aim to sustain growth and improve living standards for all citizens. Costa Rica's journey is one of resilience and progress, proving that with the right strategies, a nation can overcome challenges and chart a path to prosperity.
Today, we'll take a look at the main sector contributing to Costa Rica's gross domestic product, or GDP, and how they reshape the country's economy. In 2023, Costa Rica's economy grew by 5.1%, building on the 4.6% growth in 2022. The country's total GDP for 2023 is estimated at 96 billion 100 million, placing it as an upper middle income nation.
Over the past few decades, Costa Rica's GDP has averaged 4 to 9% growth annually. Costa Rica's economy is driven by three sectors, which is services, industry, and agriculture. Firstly, is the service sector, which is the largest contributor to the country's GDP, accounting for approximately 63% to 75%, depending on the. This includes a variety of segments such as transport, communication, and warehousing, which together account for about 60% of GDP. Trade, restaurant, and hotel contribute about 50%, and community, personal, and social services make up about 9%. In services, especially in tourism and technology, continue to be a driving force in Costa Rica's economic growth. Second, the industrial sector, mainly driven by manufacturing, contribute around 18% to 21% of GDP. This includes high-tech industry like medical device and electronic, which have benefited from foreign investment and the establishment of free trade zone in the country. Although agriculture now contributes a smaller portion of GDP, ranging from 5% to 9%, it still plays a vital role in employment and rural economies. Costa Rica is a major exporter of products like bananas, pineapples, coffee, and sugar. Additionally, the construction and utility sectors contribute about 7% of GDP. Construction is fueled by domestic demand and infrastructure projects, while utilities like water and electricity remain crucial to the country's development. In conclusion, Costa Rica's economy is becoming increasingly diversified, moving from agriculture based to a mix of services and manufacturing. With continued growth in areas like technology and tourism, the country is adapting to global trends while addressing challenges like unemployment and inflation.
I will be presenting an overview of the inflation trends in Costa Rica over the past 10 years and analyzing the factors that shape this shift in the cost of living. Over the past decade, Costa Rica's inflation trends have shifted significantly, influenced by local policies and global factors like energy prices and exchange rate. From 2014 to 2016, inflation dropped steadily, going from 4.52% in 2014 to 0.80% in 2015, and then turning negative 0.2% in 2016. This deflation was caused by weak consumer demand and stable global prices after the financial crisis. Between 2017 and 2019, inflation rose moderately, peaking at 2.22% in 2018. This increase was driven by higher consumer demand and rising global food and energy prices, though inflation remained manageable during this time. The COVID-19 pandemic brought new challenges in 2020 and 2021. Inflation fell to 0.72% in 2020 as consumer spending dropped but rebounded to 1.73% in 2021 as economic activity recovered and global commodity prices rose. In 2022, inflation surged to 8.27%, driven by global supply chain issues, the Ukraine war, and rising energy and food costs. This sharp increase significantly impacted the cost of living for consumers. By 2023, inflation reversed sharply, with rates dropping to negative 3.28% by August due to falling global prices and stronger currency. This deflationary trend continued into 2024, with inflation at negative 0.59% as of October. Looking ahead, the central bank expects inflation to stabilize at 0.80% by the end of 2024 and rise to 1.80% in 2025, signaling a return to normal economic conditions. In summary, Costa Rica's inflation has been shaped by events like the pandemic, global market disruptions, and policy responses. Moderate inflation is expected in the future, supporting stable economic growth.
In this section, I will explain the reasons behind Costa Rica's highest and lowest inflation rates over the past decade. The lowest inflation rate occurred in August 2023 when Costa Rica experienced inflation at negative 3.28%. This decline was mainly due to reduced consumer demand as households adjusted to previous price hikes. Falling prices in key sectors like food and transportation as global supply chains begin to stabilize post-pandemic also contributed to the decrease. Additionally, the appreciation of the Costa Rican colon against the US dollar made imports cheaper, further easing inflationary pressures. The highest inflation rate was 8.27% in 2022, driven by several key factors. The reopening of the economy after the pandemic led to a surge in consumer demand. At the same time, global supply chain disruptions limited the availability of goods, while rising prices for energy and food, partly due to geopolitical tensions like the war in Ukraine, added significant inflationary pressure. In conclusion, the extreme inflation rates in Costa Rica over the past decade were influenced by both local and global factors. The deflation in 2023 was due to reduced demand, supply chain stabilization, and a stronger colon. Meanwhile, the inflation spike in 2022 was driven by increased demand, supply shortage, and rising global commodity prices.
Costa Rica is taking important steps to deal with inflation by using a combination of monetary policy and fiscal policy. The Central Bank of Costa Rica, BCCR, recently announced that it will keep the policy interest rate at 4.75%. This decision shows the bank's commitment to managing inflation while supporting the economy. By keeping the interest rate steady, the central bank wants to balance economic activity and make sure inflation does not rise too much. The central bank has a clear goal to keep inflation within a target range of 2% to 4%. This range is important because it helps protect the value of money for Costa Rican families. When the inflation stays low and stable, people can buy what they need without worrying about prices rising too fast. It also gives businesses and investors confidence to plan for the future, knowing that the economy is stable. At the same time, the government is doing its part by controlling public spending and working to reduce the fiscal deficit. The fiscal deficit has been a challenge for Costa Rica in recent years, as the government has been spending more money than it collects. To address this, the government is following a restrictive fiscal policy, which means being careful about how much it spends. By doing this, it can reduce economic risk and build a stronger foundation for long-term growth. These two efforts, controlling inflation through monetary policy and managing public finances through fiscal policy, work together to create a healthier company. Costa Rica is also preparing itself to handle challenges like global supply chains issues and other external shocks that could affect prices or the economy. By carefully balancing these policies, Costa Rica is building a stronger and more stable economy for its people. This action will help ensure that families can maintain their purchasing power and that businesses and investors feel confident in their country's future. With this coordinated approach, Costa Rica is taking important steps to secure long-term stability and growth for all its citizens.
In conclusion, Costa Rica's inflation trends highlight a significant journey of challenges, policy responses, and anticipated recovery. The inflation spike in 2022, driven by global and domestic factors, prompted swift action by the Central Bank of Costa Rica, which implemented monetary tightening to anchor inflation expectations. These measures have effectively steered the country towards economic stability, with projections showing inflation normalizing within the target range by mid-2024 and stabilizing at a moderate 3% by 2029. This progression reflects the critical role of sound monetary policy in addressing economic shocks and maintaining resilience. As Costa Rica moves forward, the stability in inflation will provide a solid foundation for sustained growth, boosting confidence among businesses, consumers, and investors alike, while strengthening the country's position in the global economy.